Hey folks, this is Autumn. Welcome to my channel. I'm the Yellow Rose Stitcher. This is a channel mostly about cross stitch, but I am a multi-crafter, so occasionally there's some quilting and knitting thrown in, but not much. It's mostly cross stitch. Welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome, and if you're new, I hope you enjoy what you see and stick around to see what I've got to share. I have this channel is mostly, if you like lots of variety and not necessarily a lot of finishes, then I'm your gal. So I like to start things, and although when I counted up for my year review of starts and finishes this year, I was pleasantly surprised. So I'll share that here in a minute. But today is December 26th, so the day after Christmas. I hope all of you that celebrate Christmas, I hope you had a wonderful time with family or friends, or who you could share it with. I say we had a relatively quiet Christmas weekend anyway. My in-laws came in from out of state on December 4th and left about the 15th. And so my son, who lives in Austin, wanted to see his grandparents, so he came up and spent his Christmas. So we did our Christmas early. So this Christmas weekend was just me and my husband and church. I had Christmas Eve service, which was nice, and then Christmas morning, and then some friends of ours at church invited people that didn't have plans for Christmas over to their house, and we had a potluck lunch after church. So it was nice, different, not having, let's say, my daughter and son-in-law and granddaughter were with his family this year. So, but anyway, ramble, sorry. But I hope you enjoyed your Christmas and are getting ready, ramped up for 2023. I am. Let's get this started. I kind of started to get ready to plan this, and I thought I need to see what kind of progress I've done this year, because that was kind of the point of starting this YouTube channel. Because I tend to think that I don't finish a whole lot, but I don't know anyway, I had made I had made a whips list the beginning of in December or January, I don't remember anyway, but I started with 37 here, and so I gave one away and I finished 3, those that are highlighted, and but anyway, I went through my calendar and tried to count up all my starts and finishes, and so I started 12 new things this year and I finished 11, in which one of my whips is, I'll show you here in a minute. I'm pretty sure, I will have it finished before the end of the month. Because what do I have? What's today? I have till Saturday. I think I can finish it by Saturday. So I didn't feel like that was too bad, 12 starts and 12 finishes for the year. It's something else that, while we're talking about starts and finishes, especially this time of year, FlossTube and Instagram are the great enablers, which I'm sure you know, and kind of feeling less than accomplished, I guess is the way to say it. Looking at all these beautiful Christmas stitches, and ladies that have been stitching for years and have trees full of cross stitch ornaments, and I've said for years that I'd love to have a tree like that, but then I never start Christmas ornaments. And so if you feel like I do, I just want to encourage you that, I don't know if you're like me, you get it in your head, like subconsciously, that it's a competition, and I feel envy. While I enjoy it, I also, get it kind of down on myself or feel envious that, because I've been stitching since I was all of my adult life, but started stitching when I was 13, I think. But anyway, to tell myself and encourage you that it's not a competition, it's a hobby, it's for fun, and I get done when I get done, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the process, and so not to get wrapped up in comparison, which it's kind of hard to do even for adults. I was reading something the other day, I just can't imagine being a teenager and growing up with the social media too, and the way it makes you feel. So, because even as an adult, an old lady, you know, I can feel it too. But anyway, that was a tangent. So, but I know I feel that way about things. So I just wanted to encourage going into the new year, not to compare to everybody else, but to enjoy what you're doing and what you have. And I'm going to do the same thing. So, anywho, so to show you what I've been working on. So I had, let's see, 2 new starts this month. One was quilting, and it was a little bitty thing. The other one was a cross stitch, and I started, it's called Love and Joy by Heartstring, Samplery, Beth Twist. Hopefully that's... Anyway, I got it when it was a freebie last Christmas. I don't know if she came out with November, December. I don't remember it anyway. It's now a pattern that you can buy. But when I got it, it was a free. So I had gone into the Stitch Niche to get some fabric for my mom and some threads. And this pattern was there. And I was like, So I came home and started it. And I bought... the only white that they really had that I liked was a 25 count Legoya, which I hadn't stitched on that count before. And I started it 2/2, and then it's like, I didn't get very far. And I'll also say, I'll show you, this is my finish. I started on this border up here, doing it 2/2, and then I was like, that's really big. So I got a wild hair and decided to stitch it 1/1, which I'm not stitched 1/1 before, which on 25 counts, not bad. You can really see it. It was really easy to see, and this went fast. I was surprised at how quickly it went. So, because I started it November 23rd, so the day before Thanksgiving, and I finished it on December 3rd. So, but I stitched it with Classic Colorworks. Cupid was the color thread that I used. I really hadn't used that color before. I bought the thread when I bought the fabric at the Stitch Niche, my local needlework store, and really like the variegation in the thread. And then I actually FFO'd it as well, so it's been out on display. I bought this little easel at Michael's. Actually bought 2 of them a couple of years ago. I just happened to be in and thought they would make, occasionally when I see something that I think will be a cute cross-stitch finish, I buy it, and that was this. So it's actually back behind the fabric is a chalkboard. So that's so anyway, I covered a piece of mat board with the Christmas fabric and glued it down, and then took some red trim that I had, and I like to put batting behind my stitching, so there's a little padding there. So anyway, I was pleased with how that came out, the Christmas finish. So there's one in the books, because I don't have very many Christmas finishes, but that's one. And I have another easel like this in my stash, so I'll have to got something else to, there it goes, sorry. And so that was the one cross stitch finish, start and finish in my count. And I was just saying, if you've been with me before, you may notice that I'm in a new spot. I was trying to try something new with standing at my cutting table. It took a while to get the lighting correct, so hopefully it was, when I was testing it, it was flickering, but I don't see it doing it now, so I hope it stays that way. Took a while. Let's see. And my other start was a Christmas ornament. I've decided I want to try to make my granddaughter, Farah, a Christmas ornament every year. So I made her one last year. And then this year I got the Lovecrafts. Is it Lovecrafts? Craftways. I knew that wasn't right. Anyway, this was the new Christmas book they came out with this year. And I'm on the automatic ship where I get these. And this one came, and I really fell in love with these. They're called Creature Comforts. So it's a series of little skiing winter animals. And I started the bunny for Farah. So, and I think the called for in here is 14 count Ada. Let's see. In case you're interested. Yeah, 14 count Ada. But again, I had so much fun stitching that Love and Joy piece on 1/1. I thought, ooh, I'll do the bunny. It'll be so tiny and cute, which it is. I'm really, really pleased with it. As I say, I only have, say, the leg and the snowshoes, and then I've been putting off the plaid scarf because it looks like lots of skipping stitches and so forth. So I'm probably going to regret saving that till the end. But I am stitching this on 25 count white Legoya 1/1. But I'm really pleased with the stitches. I think it's coming out really good. But I have to make a note to myself before getting a wild hair to go off and stitch something 1/1 to check the pattern, because this little guy has fractional stitches in the nose and the eye. And was there any? I think that's where all of the fractionals. Oh, and there was one in the thumb of the mitten. So luckily it's tiny, but it's really hard to stitch fractional stitches and trying to get the needle to go through one strand of Legoya. But all in all, I think it's turned out. So needless to say, because I plan on doing the rest of the animals in this series, one a year for Farah, the rest of them will not be stitched 1/1. That is not happening. As cute as it is, I don't want to mess with the fractional stitches 1/1. And I actually got some fabric that I think will work. I'll show you here at the end in my acquisitions of what I think I'm going to stitch the rest of them on, or as many as I can with the fabric that I have. I haven't counted to see. But anyway, so, but I have till, I don't know, I'm late. Actually, no, she didn't get this before Christmas, but she'll have it for next year. So that's the other goal, is to start her Christmas ornament in July of 2023 and not wait till December 1st. No, when did I start this? December 6th to start this, because planning ahead's not my, and this was in a project bag that I bought at the Stitch Niche. I went in, I don't know what this fabric line is. I wish I did because I love it. And it's stitched by Mystic Meadows Creations. She sells her bags at the Stitch Niche. So anyway, that was a Christmas bag. So, and let's see. Look at my notes. Oh, the other, as I say, I haven't just done all cross stitch. The other thing I was, I can't remember, was that when I was going through my fabric stash, looking for fabric to finish the Love and Joy piece, I came across this panel in fabric. It was all, kitted up, ready to go. There was no pattern, and as I say, I started quilting like 25 some odd years ago, so I have a lot of stuff that's been sitting around. So anyway, it's a panel, and I thought I'm just gonna whip that up and get it done. So, and part of the reason I changed where I film is hopefully I can show this standing up and we can see it better than, see if I can step back. So, so anyway, I say this was a one-day quick little, see if I can show you up close, home for very, very 90s, but as to say, I like the 90s decor. All is calm, all is bright. So I think it's cute. Now I just got to see if I can quilt it on my machine. Oh, and I meant to write down forgot who the panel was by. I forgot to write that down. Anyway, I just did my own measurements because I didn't have a pattern for it. I had a fat quarter of this gold, so I made a really thin border that's not part of the panel. And then the snowflake fabric for the border. And then I have this deep cranberry red. And that's what I'm going to use for the binding on it. So, but hopefully I can get that quilted and get that bound before next Christmas and have it to lay over a chair or something. And so another item out of the deep stash that is my collection. And the last thing that I worked on, I have years ago, I was in a quilt guild, and I say that was my main hobby for the longest time was quilting. And I have a stack of quilt tops that were block exchanges from me and friends. And in fact, you can see there's 2 more there that need borders and to be quilted. But I had I finished 2 quilt tops earlier in the year and then got them back from the quilter this summer. And I gave Christian, my son, a pick of which one he would like, and had it quilted and got it back, I don't know, August or September, I don't remember. But anyway, it had been sitting. So before he came home, I got it out and got the binding on it. So I'll put a picture of it maybe over here. Anyway, I'll put a picture of the quilt up on the bed. It's a full-size quilt. And then unfortunately I didn't get to send it home with him because I didn't start putting the binding on quite early enough. And then I got sick at the end of the week that he was here and didn't feel like sitting and stitching. So we'll have to mail it to him or find time to drive to Austin. I'm not sure when that's going to happen. But anyway, it's done now. And he got to see it and was happy with it. So fortunately, he didn't have it for the cold winter storm that hit this last week. But that's all us to say. That's all I've worked on the last month. So not a ton, but not too bad. Yeah, I think that's all. That's all that I've worked on since November, since my last video. And set this aside. So, talking about plans for 2023, if you've been around and watched some of my other videos, you may recall that I have a big birthday coming up here in 2023. I'll be turning 50, and so this last year, summer, anyway, I don't remember when I got the idea, but I decided for my 50th birthday year, I would start 50 new things. So I'm going to start a project a week, every week except for the week of Thanksgiving and the week of Christmas. So that'll give me 50 new starts, and I will start that New Year Day. So I had gone through and planned. I've got all my starts recorded for what month that I'm going to start them in. So for January, let me move that. So for January, I've got my starts listed, and I'll show those to you. If anybody wants to start along with me, feel free. Let's see, pull these over. So I have a couple of kits, and I say part of my idea of starting the 50 new things is I probably had, I don't know, almost 25 things that were already in my stash sitting there waiting to be started. So I figured I have it. Why not? I'm not one of those people that having a lot of whips bothers me. Although in 2024, I will really have to stick at working at knocking down some of the whips, because by then I'll have like 80, 90, between 80 and 90 whips. So anyway, so one of my starts is a Mill Hill kit called Winter Holiday. So it's a little church. That'll be one of my starts coming up here in January. Of course, it's got everything you need in there, the perforated paper, beads, and thread. So that's going to be a start. And I haven't quite decided what order I'm going to start these in. I may go by the order I've got them written down. The next start I have is another Mill Hill. This one is a buttons and beads, and it's called Snowy Owl. That's that. And I say again, it's got everything you need in it, perforated paper. At the time I bought this in Tulsa at the Silver Needle, and they have a big wall of all of these kits. And they also have a basket underneath where they've got Ada cut out that you can do instead. So I bought this thinking, but now I'm not sure if I want to do Ada or if I want to do the perforated paper. So I've got to make that decision before I start. But either way, that's another, I thought that was cool. My grandmother collected owls, and so I don't know. I get more sentimental the older I get. I think of owls and think of her. So there's that. So that's 2. And then, oh, I don't think I grabbed one of my projects. I'll have to pause here in a minute. So my other project, this I've had kitted up for since it came out. I think I ordered the book and all the fabric from Dying to Stitch, which you've all seen this. This is Winter Rose Manor. So I've got that. And I've got the 36 count Brenda's Brew to stitch it on. And I even have the 40 count Brenda's Brew. I won't start this probably, I'll just start that. But it's for the that piece on the back. And then all the fabric, or all the thread for it, I think it's all, well, it's a mixture of Classic Colorworks and Weeks. I need to get those. So, and there's that's the conch, is it? Yeah. Weeks Dye Works conch is the big pink house. And I've seen some people change it, because I say it doesn't look, it's not very pink compared to, I don't know, not necessarily on that, but when I've seen it, I may change that to something a little more pink. I kind of liked the idea of the big pink house, but again, I need to make decisions quick because January will be here in, what did I say, 5 days? So, I may have to make a trip to the Stitch Niche this week. We'll see. But, yeah, I don't know. Don't know. It's hard to sometimes make these decisions when you don't necessarily have somebody to bounce ideas off of. All right, the next project, because I say there's 5, 1, 2, 3, yeah, because there's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Sundays in January, so I have 5 starts, not 4. I misspoke. Another start I've got ready to go. This was another, hopefully I can show this without a glare. Antique Toys. This is a series. There's 2 patterns in volume 1, 2, and 3. This is, or volume 2, number 2. Anyway, I'm going to start this one with the red teddy bear called Going for a Ride. I want to put that, we've made one of our spare bedrooms now that the kids are flown the coop. A room for the grandkids. I know there's only one grandkid right now, but anyway, I want to make this and put that in the playroom. And I just pulled from my stash a piece of 14 count white Ada. So that's what I'm going to stitch that on. And it's all lots and lots of DMC. So that's another start. I say, I don't know if you need to see all the DMC. I say, one of my Christmas gifts, my son was kind enough, when he asked what I wanted for Christmas, I asked for a gift certificate to 123 Stitch so I can order threads for my 50 and 50 starts. So, and hang on a second because I forgot to grab a project. I'll be right back. Oh. I'm back. The other start is, I'm going to start a red work piece. And let's see, this bag has all of my red work patterns. So, where'd it go? I think the one I plan on starting is from Red Letter Day by Teresa Venette, her book that she came out with this last year. So got some beautiful samplers in it. Let's see if I can show this without let's see. This one's called Anna Legoya. Is that one right there? That's the one I'm going to start. And I have a piece of 40 count weeks parchment to stitch that on. I've only ever done one other red sampler before, and I did it on a white. So I'm interested. When I see these red samplers stitched on this darker gold fabric, they're really pretty. So this will be my first time stitching on 40 count. So fingers crossed I don't go cross-eyed. But I thought I stitched over one on 25 count. I know these holes are a lot smaller, but I thought that was a good warm-up for stitching on 40 count, maybe, you think? We'll see. We shall see. So, those are my plans. That's what I'm going to start in January for my first 5 projects on the road to 50 new starts in 2023. And so I hope you enjoy coming along for the ride. And I got to thinking here the other day, another goal for this coming year, for 2023, is, since I'm going to have nothing but starts all year long, I might start showing off. Maybe I don't have a lot of finishes in my house, because before I discovered FlossTube and Instagram, practically everything I ever stitched or made were for gifts, and I gave them away. So while I have cross stitch in my house, it's all thanks to my mom, either things that she's made me or things that I've inherited from when they moved overseas. They couldn't take everything with them, so I inherited her cross stitch, and a lot of it is framed. But then I have a whole drawer of stuff that I have finished stitching but haven't fully finished, and then I've got a bunch of stuff that my mom has stitched that's not framed or fully finished. So I'm thinking for 2023 I really want to work on fully finishing and framing some things. So hopefully along the year, if you follow along with me, I will have some finishes to show and not just little starts. So it won't be quite so boring. That's the hope. That's the goal. So like I said before, I guess, if you don't make plans, if you don't make them, it's fine, because it's just a hobby, right? But you can't get anything done if you don't make plans. So talked about my 50 and 50, what I finished. So I guess I can show you acquisitions now. As I say, it wasn't quite as bad this last month. Oh, one other thing I wanted to show you that I worked on. I've had in quilting, I started cutting these out years ago. I have a whole basket full of these tumbler shapes. And if you're familiar with quilting, there's a thing that quilters call, if you have a project on your sewing machine, so every time you sit down, enders and leaders. So you can just, there's blocks that you can stitch at the beginning and the end of another seam that you're doing. So I started this. I've kept looking for a project that I could do that with, and I finally, when I was trying to organize some of my scraps earlier this year, is to put these out and start sewing the tumblers together. So while I was putting the quilt binding together for Christian's quilt, I sewed these up. So gotten started on that, which took a little fussing because I have never sewn this shape before, and so learning how to line it up so that when you open it up they're even, that took several pieces, several trial and error sewing sessions. So but anyway, I've got this on the machine now just so when I sit down to quilt something, I can start sewing these tumbler blocks together for enders and leaders. I say at one time when I started cutting these out originally years ago, I wanted it to be like a charm quilt, which the idea is that none of the quilt or none of the fabric repeats. But I soon learned there's no way to remember or keep track of what I've cut and what I haven't cut. So I kind of gave up on that idea and just started cutting scraps. So if there's repeats, there's repeats. It is what it is. I don't want to have to unsew anything. So anyway, back to acquisitions. One of the things that I got back, I think it was market day last March when we went in to pick up our market purchases from the Stitch Niche. They had paper, I wish I knew where I had one. They had paper cards, and I think they gave us like 4 or 5 of them, and they said these threads are for, so you can put what project they're for, and what did I put for the buy? Anyway, so since I have 50 projects to start, my mother-in-law is a paper crafter, and I sent her a picture of the one that I'd gotten from the Stitch Niche and asked her if she could reproduce that, and so she did, and I was totally thrilled. And part of the thinking on it is because last year I found a big ring of DMC floss, and I have no idea what those threads are for. I went through all of my whips. All of my whips had their threads with them. I didn't find anything else that was kitted up, so I had all these threads together and I had no idea what they were for. So with 50 new starts coming, I didn't want to repeat that and have the threads get separated from their projects. So I wanted to be able to put them all on a ring and be able to label which projects they are for. And so my mother-in-law was kind enough to make these for me, and she stamped them with various kind of cute little stamps. So I was thrilled. Thought these were so cute. And she made these ones with the stamps was the test run. She made a few and then mailed them to me to see if I liked them and if they would work, which I love them. And then I say some have flowers. Oops. So anyway, when they came for Christmas, she brought these. These don't have stamps on, they're just plain, but that I should say they have these threads are for. But I have more than enough for all of my projects. So really, really looking forward to getting these organized, and I need to buy some rings to put all the threads on, and I was going to order from Amazon the ones I've seen some people use them, and I don't know if they're called wire key rings. They're more of a wire and they have a twist. Anyway, that's what I want to order to put all my threads on with these. So that's one acquisition. Then my daughter has a collection of t-shirts of her husband's, and she wants to make a t-shirt quilt. And she came over last week, and we kind of got started with going through the shirts, washed, because they'd been in storage, because he used to work at a YMCA camp and some other stuff. That's where these shirts are from. Anyway, we washed them, and then we're going through and seeing the size, what size we're going to have to, she'll need to cut. And then we made a trip to Hobby Lobby to get some interfacing. I've not made a t-shirt quilt before. I've got some shirts of my husband's that I've collected to make him one too. So I've watched videos here, there years ago. Anyway, I'd learned that you should put interfacing on the back of the t-shirt because the knit is so stretchy. You don't want it to. So anyway, we went to Hobby Lobby to get interfacing for her, and their fabric was 40% off. So I bought a couple of pieces to make some more project bags. So I got this one, and I've got a fabric that'll go good for the inside of that. And then I got this bird one. So couple more pieces of fabric to make some project bags. Then in showing you the bunny rabbit, the Christmas ornament, I kept seeing this fabric when I've been gone into Joann's, a few times collecting DMC. I'm going to take this out of the plastic tube because I think the glare will be too bad. But anyway, I kept seeing this DMC Charles Craft 14 count fabric, and I just thought it was really cool because, oh, it's going to show up. It's got some, it's white on one side and then kind of a blue and green painted. Let's see. Oh, that looks a little better. Anyway, I just thought it would make really cool, like Christmas ornament, to stitch Christmas ornaments, but now I think I'm going to do the creatures, the skiing animals out of this book for the rest of the ornaments and see how many I can get on here. Of course, I'll say on 14 count, they'll be much bigger. So, yeah, I kept looking at it and kept looking at it every time we went in, and my husband, Chris, was with him, and he finally go, oh, just got it. So I did. I'll set that aside. Then, my local needlework store, I'm not sure exactly how many years they've done it. I know for at least the last few years, 5 years, they've come out with their own exclusive Christmas ornament. And I've never bought them before, but this year I bought it, and so I went in, and so it was all packaged up cute, and so it's all kitted up. Get this out, and they have all the one owner of the store. I don't know, in the last year he got one of those. Was it a 3D printing machine? So anyway, he made these floss rings, printed them. So the threads are on there, and then there's some beads and ribbon. Oh, is that gonna? The ribbon's really pretty. I'll say the linen to make it, some cotton batting, and then their version, which I wish I had taken a picture of it when I was at the store and I didn't. So I'm hoping if I go in this week, it'll still be there. But that's a piece of foam core. But anyway, this little box, they had stained black with their finish on it's got a hanger, so I haven't started this yet, and I'm not sure if I will get it started or if I'll hang on to it. And I'm going to try, like I said, I don't have a picture of the finish. We'll see if I can do this without giving away too much of the pattern. But it's kind of like a lantern, and it's got the year on it, and then underneath the lantern is like sitting on a shelf. It says best wishes from the Stitch Niche. So I thought it was really cute. So that was something else that I had purchased. I may have signed up for it way back in September when I took the Pinkeep or the Tomato Harvest drum class there. So another Christmas ornament to start. And then, oh, one other thing. I get emails every Tuesday from a yarn company that makes self-striping sock yarn called Mustache Yarn. And they have a mystery knit-along for a sock in DK weight yarn. It's supposed to cast on today. I still haven't gone out. I need to wind my yarn. But I got... it's called Homecoming is the name of the colorway, and it's a DK weight yarn, and then this green to coordinate with it for the, I'm assuming, heels, toes, and cuffs. So it's called the Wintertide Mystery Knit Along. So I've got to go out and say it's 4 o'clock. I don't know if I'm going to get this. Probably won't get this done today, but anyway, it's new winter socks. Like, I don't know when I think I'm going to make all this stuff. I need to play on YouTube, watching FlossTube and Instagram less, and sew more, and sleep less. See if I can sleep less. All right, lastly, There's a store that's near our house called At Home. I don't know if y'all have those around you. It's across the highway in catty corner from our Hobby Lobby that's near me. Anyway, I've been in there a few times and have found some good stuff. So at Christmas we went in and I found, I was looking for something, was it 2020 or 2020? I don't remember. Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread came out with a mystery stitch along. Mary and Minty. I should have pulled it out. Hang on a second. Hang on a sec. Whoop. So this piece, if you've seen it, Mary and Minty, I got it stitched. So I'd been looking for a piece to finish it on, and we went into At Home, and I saw this frame, and it already has the clip on it, and so I thought that'll be about the right size, or maybe a little bit bigger, but it has a stand that I can set it on somewhere at the top of the buffet or the piano. So my plan is to get this finished and on here. I think that'll be really, really cute. The red matches, I thought, fairly well. So that was another acquisition. Hopefully you'll see that as a fully finished object here this next year. And then while I found that one, I actually picked this up first. Oh, it's gotten scratched. Thinking it would work. And it's just a little box sign that says Farmhouse Christmas, but I thought I could turn it and cover it with, you know, one piece of mat board covered in fabric, and then the Mary and Minty on top of it. So I've got two options there, and I'm sure if it, you know, whichever one I use, I can use the other one later for something else. But see if I can, trying to see if I can fold this where it'll look like. Anyway, I can't do that, but you get the idea. Stick that on the front of there, and so that's it. That's all for today. I say again, I hope that you enjoyed your holiday season and getting ready for the new year. As I say, I'm always trying to think to make sure I don't forget things, and then sure enough I turn the video off and I've forgotten something, but hopefully I didn't do that this time. So I wish you well. I hope your winter is starting off well and you survived the big storm that just passed last week, and we will see you in January of 2023. God bless.